Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. In the pre market this morning, stock index futures are trading higher across the board, being led higher by the NASDAQ. That has a lot to do with NVIDIA's earnings. The S&P 500 and the Dow were up higher earlier overnight. The Dow is up around 500 points overnight one time that I checked. So we've given up some of those gains, but the NASDAQ is still holding up fairly well. Gold and crude oil are both trading slightly higher on Thursday morning. Now, we're expecting jobless claims and GDP numbers to come out at 8:30. They could certainly help change the direction of the market, but I think Nvidia is going to hold the market up this morning. Tariffs are in the news this morning. Apparently, a court has ruled against the Trump tariffs, and we'll have to see how that works out. Of course, there's some countries celebrating more than others this morning, and there's the Penguins having a party overnight. Now, let's start off by taking a look at the VIX. And if we look at the seasonality chart of the VIX, you can see as we come into the month end, we usually get some selling in the VIX. And we also get some buying in the stock market coming into month end as well. So to see the market up on Thursday going into month end isn't that unusual. Now, notice that the VIX goes up in the month of June. So that is not good for the stock market. We'll have to see how that plays out. Right now, we're still waiting for a sell signal for the VIX for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ is currently on a sell signal, while the VIX for the Russell 2000 is still on a buy signal. So that could certainly change on Thursday with the market opening higher on Thursday morning. Now, with NVIDIA monopolizing the news today, I thought we'd take a look at the Magnificent Seven stocks. And actually, we have 9 stocks in our watch list. Let's start off looking at the ETF. And you can see the last buy signal for the ETF was back here in the middle of April. And we have not closed below the lower channel line once. So we're still on a buy signal coming into today's trading action. Now, we're stuck here at 53.13, looking to see if we can break out above it. We are currently trading above that in the pre market. And of course, we don't care how we open, we always care how we close. And so we'll have to see how the market ends the day. Now, when you look at our price target charts, a typical move for a symbol is 2 lines at a time. That is a normal trading range, and we look to take advantage of that. You don't want to be always thinking that the stock that you're following is going to hit a home run. It has normal moves, and if you're following the same symbols all the time, you'll get to know what those normal moves are. But here we are stuck at 53.13, and we're going to open higher than this level on Thursday morning. Now, if we look 2 lines up from where we are right now, that would take us up to the 59.38 level. But if you look to the left, you can see that 56.25 acted as resistance back in February. And so that is a more realistic target at this time. Now, looking at the daily panic zone chart, one of the things you want to notice here is over here where we peaked in December, we continue to make a series of lower highs and lower lows. That pattern started to change in April, where we started to make a higher low. And of course, that's the first part of the puzzle. The second part, of course, is to take out the recent high. And you can see that we did that on a gap. And that is certainly a bullish move for this particular symbol. Now, we're still projecting higher prices here. We're projecting up to the 58 level to happen in July. Of course, projections don't know what they don't know. So that is just an estimate for you to look at. Is that a realistic estimate? Yep. You look back here, we were up at those levels back in December. And that is certainly a doable level. Whether it's realistic or not, hey, that's another story altogether. Now, for this particular ETF, the buy signal came on the first close above the upper channel line. The blue dot there is an early warning signal. Sometimes they correspond with the buy signal itself, which again is the first close above the upper channel line. So then we come in the next morning, and of course, we're going to check what's going on in the pre-market to make sure that what we're looking at hasn't been undone overnight. And of course, you can see the little tick on the left-hand side of the bar there. That was the opening price. Is there a perfect time to buy? No, the most important thing is to actually get the order in. If you're standing up here looking at what happened, do you really care if you bought it at 9:30, 9:31, 9:41, 9:51? If you're waiting to say after 10 o'clock, then you've changed from being a position trader to actually being a day trader. And there's really no benefit in doing that if you're going to be waiting for the closing price. So just get the order in, make sure that nothing dramatic has changed overnight to unwind what you're attempting to do, and just get the order filled at 9:30 or as close to it as possible. Some days you'll get it, you'll buy at the low of the day. Some days you'll buy at the high of the day. Over time, it'll all average out. The most important thing is to get the order in the market. Now, when we come in this morning, let's say, for example, that yesterday, this downward activity that we saw in the Magnificent Seven ETF actually generated a sell signal. So I come in this morning and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to place a sell order because this particular ETF closed below the lower channel line yesterday. Well, if you come in the next morning, this morning, for example, and you see that the stock is up sharply or the ETF is up sharply in the pre-market, then you're just going to ignore the previous day's sell signal. And the reverse is also true. If you get a buy signal and you come in the next morning and see that the stock or ETF is down sharply in the pre-market, you're going to ignore that buy signal. So, there is a little wiggle room here. We don't have to take every signal. Now, sometimes you'll hear me say that if we do get a signal, whether it's a buy or a sell signal, that because of the market conditions on that particular morning, you can wave off that signal and wait for a confirmation. So, another close above the upper channel line to confirm a buy signal, or another close below the lower channel line to confirm a sell signal. So here we are, we're trying to break out above 53.13. We're doing that in the pre-market. So our next target to the upside is 56.25. And I would have an order in up at that level if I still have some shares left in this particular ETF. And hopefully, if you've done it right, you still do have some shares, because you should never completely liquidate a position. You can sell a part of your position and keep selling into strength without completely liquidating any position. Now, looking at NVIDIA, you can see NVIDIA's had an early warning up here at the top of the screen, but we really didn't see enough downward pressure to generate a sell signal. Again, you can see where things change. We were making a series of lower highs and lower lows. We had panic selling in early April. That's off the big announcement from the president. And then you can see we moved up and made a higher low and then started to move up again. You can see where the buy signal was. In this particular case, the next morning you would have come in and been able to buy it slightly lower than it closed. And so then we were off to the races. We dipped into the channel, but did not close below it. We dipped into the channel, but did not close below the lower channel line. That, of course, would generate a sell signal. And on coming into Thursday's trading action, we are looking for a close below $129.70. Certainly, we're not expecting that to happen given what we're seeing in the pre-market. And if we don't close below that level today, that lower channel line is going to keep moving higher daily. Now, a month ago, when this trade started, you could see that we were trying to break out above 112.50. Our next target was 125 and then 137.50. So that would be two lines up from the 112.50 level. And that's where we got to. We got up to 137.50 and stopped. And now we're looking to see if we can move up to 150, which is not only a daily, but it's also a weekly target. And there we are, we're trading up over $8 in the pre-market this morning. Not up to the 150 level, but certainly on the way to the 150 level, which again is not only a daily, but also a weekly target. Now we can motor through the rest of the stocks fairly quickly. Starting off with Apple, we're looking for a close on Thursday above $205.62 to give us a buy signal. No change for Amazon, still on a buy signal here. No change for Broadcom, making a new high for this move, trying to break out from the highs from back in February. And here we are trying to hit 250. That's our next target to the upside. Looking at Alphabet, we're still on a buy signal here, stuck at 175. Two lines up takes us to 187.50. And if you look back in February, that level acted as resistance. Then looking at Meta still on a buy signal here. We're trying to break out above 656.25. If we can do that and take out the high from early in May, then 687.50 would come into play. Then looking at Microsoft made a new high yesterday. We're trying to get to force 468.75, and then 484.38, and possibly $500 if this trend wants to continue. Then looking at Shopify. Shopify generated a sell signal a couple of days ago. It is back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. Now, while it gave a sell signal the other day, the pros did not give up control. So that's always something to check, just to see how aggressively you want to be on the short side. And you can see that back in early May, we did break out above 150, but that didn't last very long. And so if we can take out the May high, then 162.50 would come into play, and that's Shopify on the TSX. And last up this morning, we're looking at Tesla, which made a new high for this move yesterday and then had a small pullback. When I see a pullback like that, it's nothing to be concerned about. I'd be far more concerned if we close below the previous day's low. That would be something that would catch my attention, but otherwise, we're still on our way to 375. And if we take that out, if you look way over to the left of the screen, you can see that we did trade up to the 406.25 level before gapping lower. So that 406.25 level is certainly a realistic target to the upside if we take out 375. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Please have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.